Friends, Romans, countrymen, howdy y'all. My name is Rory, I'm a writer and an aspiring illustrator, and this year I made a promise to myself that I was going to begin documenting little slices of my life, and over the course of the past few months I've been doing just that. I've found that documenting my creative work keeps me motivated, and my hope for the future is that it's also going to keep me accountable. The logic is that if I have an audience, or if I feel like I have an audience, then I'll be better at sticking to my routine and pursuing my goals. Is that actually going to work? Who knows, but I'm here to find out. This video is a summer vlog, so it covers a lot of the things I did between late May and late August. This was a super busy summer for me, both personally and professionally. I submitted 9 pieces of creative work to various publications, and 5 of those pieces were accepted for publication, which is really exciting. I also started working on my craft fair application for next season, and I finally got to meet up with some of my writing friends in NYC. Throughout this video, there's going to be a little bit of commentary from me, but most of the runtime will be footage from all of the stuff that I did.
They're active from the middle of summer through the middle of fall.
And she's not in Animal Crossing.
Maybe you haven't caught her yet.
No, I know there's only 2 types of spiders in Animal Crossing.
There's only 2 types of tarantula and what?
Tarantula, and then just like a sort of generic green and black striped spider, kind of.
I initially recorded the audio for this segment as I was filming, but I decided to put in a voiceover in post because I really can't handle just how awkward I am when speaking on camera. This is why I don't make TikToks, y'all. What can I say? I think if I make more of these videos, I'll gradually become more and more confident about speaking on film, but right now I'm just not there yet. There's a section later on in the video where I do speak on camera, mostly just because I was too lazy to record a voiceover and I didn't think I was like unbearably awkward during that segment, but you can definitely expect to hear more from voiceover me in the future. During the height of the summer, I did a lot of running around with friends. We saw a couple bands perform, including Blood Club and Glass Beach. I also spent a lot of time this summer at plant nurseries because I recently started a garden and I'm trying to learn more about how to grow plants sustainably and in ways that are actually beneficial to the environment. In this section of the video, you'll also see some footage of the Kyle Fair, which was awesome. Kyle is a small town in central Texas, and their county fair is, I would say, extremely run-of-the-mill small town stuff, but it's a vibe that I'm very familiar with. The music this past year was actually really good. Nobody really pays much attention to the music at a county fair because you're not really supposed to. The idea is that the musicians are hired to be pleasant background noise, essentially, while everyone sort of mills around and spends their money and does their thing. But this year, there was a fiddle player who opened his set by playing the beginning of Vivaldi's Winter, and that's classical music, which no one expects to hear at a county fair, so everyone in the entire fairground freezes in place and turns towards the stage, and then once the fiddler actually has everyone's undivided attention, he transitioned from Vivaldi straight into Devil Went Down to Georgia, which was the coolest shit I've ever fucking seen. So yeah, that's what I did during the height of the summer, and I hope you find some of the footage entertaining, at least.
That was annoying enough, but that's just sad. I don't know why.
Catch them?
I don't want to.
He might bite you.
It might be a way to get
And it
down
would
there.
actually hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. As opposed to like the little ones and they bite.
Cool. Already? Already? Look around a little bit. Look around a little bit.
Stop and smell the flowers.
Let's take home, boys. You ready? Lay back on the fiddle and drown in Johnny's beat. W, just come on back if you ever want to try again. What? I told you once, you son of a gun. On the back, you son of a band. He's the
On Wednesday, July 31st, I finally met my Tin House writing cohort for the first time in person, and this was a pretty big deal to me. If you don't know what Tin House is, it's an indie publisher based in Seattle, and they host a ton of writing retreats and workshops and events for authors and that kind of thing. Back at the very beginning of 2022, Tin House gave me a full-ride scholarship to one of their young adult fiction workshops, which was really a huge deal for me at the time because without it, I would not have been able to attend. I just couldn't afford the tuition otherwise, and I definitely could not afford the cost of a ticket to Seattle. But this time, it was virtual because of the pandemic. So normally all Tin House workshops, I believe, are in person. But because everyone was still in lockdown in 2022, they decided to host it virtually, which made the retreat much more accessible for low-income writers. Tin House was an amazing experience. It was really transformative for me, and I know that sounds corny to say, but that's honestly how it felt. During the workshop, they placed me in a cohort with 5 other queer writers, and we immediately got a group chat going, and we've been friends ever since. We talk every week, we get on Zoom to workshop each other's writing, and honestly, this group has been sort of a creative lifeline for me over the past couple years. Without these people, I'm not sure that I would be a writer at all, so getting to meet them in person was a pretty big deal for me. It's been almost 3 years since Tin House, and we'd never actually done a big meetup like this before because of the pandemic, and we all lived in different areas and blah blah blah. So here's the weird part. In the years since we first met at Tin House, one of our party members, shall we say, has basically become an indie pop star. They were invited to be an opener for Madeline May, who's another indie pop artist, and the rest of us were like, hey, wouldn't it be crazy if we met up for the first time at your show? So that's exactly what we did. We chose the Brooklyn show, and we decided that it was going to be probably the most convenient place for us all to meet up. And it was convenient for me because I have some family on the East Coast, so I was like, great, I'll get to hang out with my friends, and I can also go see my family on the same trip. In the run-up to the show, we did a lot of running around in the city. We went to Central Park, we rode the carousel, we hit some museums, and we also rode the Staten Island Ferry, which is something that I used to do for fun when I was like a teenager with no money because it's free. So that was kind of nostalgic for me. We also went to the main branch of the New York Public Library in Manhattan, which I'd actually never been to before. I have family in the city and I spent a lot of time there as a kid, but I just never ended up visiting the main branch because it was really far away. But now I've visited and I can say it's crazy in there. It's beautiful. It's really more of a museum than a library. So yeah, lots of fun stuff in this section, and I hope you enjoy exploring New York with me, I guess. The final thing that I did this summer was going to Asbury Park. Asbury Park, if you don't know, is like an ex-resort town on the Jersey coast, or the Jersey Shore, I guess I should say. It was a really, really big resort town in, I want to say, like the 1920s, and then the Great Depression hit and it got really run down. And I think it picked back up in like the 50s or 60s or something, but then by the 80s and 90s, Asbury Park was like on the downturn again. And it was like this really decrepit area for a long time. There weren't any jobs in the area. A lot of people lived in poverty, that kind of thing. And then suddenly, randomly, in like the beginning of the early 2000s, Asbury Park started gentrifying. And I have a weird history with this particular town. My family has lived out there for a long time, and it has changed so much. It really has changed. It used to be like just such a shitty little boardwalk town, but in a way that felt very familiar and very comforting to me. And this was the first time that I went back to Asbury Park since the early 2000s. And I don't know what to say other than gentrification is a bitch. Like, it's the same, but it's so different. And it's so expensive to be there now because now it's really trendy. And I kind of miss the old Asbury Park. I miss how it used to be. I remember for a while when I was a little kid, I used to like go to school in New Jersey, not for very long, but like for a weird period when we lived in New Jersey. And I remember I actually got bullied because my family lived in Asbury Park. I remember like so distinctly, one girl on the playground at school when I was in elementary school was like, "Oh, like where do your family live?" And I was like, "We live out in Asbury Park." And she said, I kid you not, she said, "Asbury Park, that's where people go to get robbed." And now it's like the trendiest place you can go on the Jersey Shore. And that's just crazy to me. Like, I used to be embarrassed to tell people that I was from there. So, yeah, this part of the video diary is really nostalgic for me. I was going through a lot of feelings about gentrification and memory and childhood, and it was just a weird time for me. Not necessarily all bad, but it was weird, and I'm not gonna beat around the bush. The old vibe of Asbury Park that I used to really love is like, this is like a super hyper specific, but if anyone watching this has seen the old movie Lost Boys, like the vampire movie that takes place on the boardwalk, the opening scene of that movie is just like shots of people hanging out on the boardwalk. And it's got this like old, I think it's the Stranglers maybe? It's like a Stranglers song. Oh no, sorry, it's the Doors. The opening scene of the movie has this Doors song playing over footage of people hanging out on the boardwalk. And going to Asbury Park always reminds me of the opening scene of Lost Boys.
Hey, we're almost there.
What was that smell?
Ah, that's the ocean air.
Smells like someone died.
Aw, honey, look, guys, I know the last year hasn't been easy, but I think you're really gonna like living in Santa Carla.
People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down, when you're strange. Faces come out of the rain.
Here you go.
you have no idea how excited I am about this. Nobody, like, no one grows it really at all.
Oh, we should do
Very much so. Can you bring it all plate because I'm making the salad and I thought taking it out. This is lovely if you guys don't like. Colorful. And stock blue.
So this building, I believe, used to be an entertainment center of some kind. I've heard conflicting stories about what used to be inside. I've heard skating rink, I've heard gaming arcade, I've heard all sorts of things. The structure has always been hollowed out and defunct for as long as I've been alive, but when I was a little kid, you could actually go inside here. Now it's all boarded up, I'm assuming because it's structurally unsound. It's gotta be some kind of safety hazard, but back in the day, you could just run around inside here. This building next door is actually the old carousel building. There used to be a carousel in here. I don't know how much of the carousel is still in there. I've heard that there are like bits and pieces of it still in there, and I've also heard that it's totally hollowed out and completely empty, and I'm actually not sure anymore. I don't really know why the structure has this massive smokestack chimney. It's possible that the carousel was steam powered or something a long time ago. Now, this building has always been boarded up for as long as I've been around, but it did used to be much easier to break inside. I know this spot used to be very popular with urban explorers, but as you can see, now that Asbury Park is all fancy, they've got 24/7 cops posted outside to make sure no rowdy teenagers can get in. Lame. This is the final building I want to show you. I have no idea what the original purpose of this structure was. For most of my life, it was like a shitty dive bar that also served some food, and now it's a club, which is why you can probably hear Charlie XCX playing in the background. When I was a kid, this was the coolest place to hang out, just under here. All the local kids would run around and explore underneath this building, which was very dangerous, I'll add. Like, yeah, I have a lot of nostalgia for that era, but to be fair, we should not have been hanging out under this building. There's like needles and broken glass and all kinds of shit down here.
a kleptomaniac rolling somewhere I don't know. And to my horror, you led me to a body at rest, and I rested shot by your side, but to my surprise, the body was mine.
Sound, one small sight, one unsheathed knife must glint in alternate timelines, like one rust-ridden blade juts out of a friendly moonstruck shape to tear terribly the delicate crepe of night. Familiarity breeds.
Hi, this is a voiceover from editing Rory. The audio from the footage that you're watching right now ended up being pretty unusable because if you look closely, you'll notice that I was fidgeting and playing with my lav mic the whole time, which created a really crazy bounce back effect and rendered my audio incomprehensible, basically. The day I recorded this outro was actually the first time that I'd ever used a lav mic, so you live and you learn, I guess. This was the first installment in what I hope will become a semi-regular video diary project. As I said at the beginning of the video, I started this project because I want to be better at sticking to my goals, and I'm hoping to do that by documenting my process, how I make art, how I write, and how I interface with the world around me. I'm hoping this will motivate me to make stuff and share stuff, and I also do want to try curating an audience of some kind, even just a small one, because honestly, I think having an audience can create a little bit of positive pressure, and in the coming year, I really want to feel as though someone or something is going to hold me accountable. I really hope that watching this was entertaining, if not inspiring, and yeah, I'll check back sometime, hopefully at the end of January. In the meantime, friends, Romans, countrymen, peace out.